Hey, I'm Russell Leeds.
And I'm Anna Leeds.
And welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. On this week's show, we're going to be discussing how you can manage your Airbnb property in just 30 minutes a week, which is exactly what we do with some of our units that we manage ourselves. Now, I suppose the first thing is, just to be clear, if you've seen some of our social media and what we're doing, I'm not including all our units. So, for example, we've got hotels. We've got a 26-bedroom hotel. You're not going to manage that in 30 minutes a week. Like, we have a full-time manager who manages that for us. What I'm talking about is if you've got individual units, if you're doing, let's say, a rent-to-rent, or if you buy a serviced accommodation, if you buy a flat to rent out or a house to rent out as serviced accommodation, you literally can manage that property, which is bringing in, I mean, how much money are we probably making per unit of our serviced accommodation properties? You're probably looking, I'd say, somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 a month.
Yeah, that's very average.
Is that about fair?
Yeah.
So if you're working like half an hour to make 1,500 a month, and don't forget as well, if rent to rent, it is just that, it's 1,500 a month. But if you're buying these units, you're also making the capital appreciation as well. So you can make an awful lot of money with very, very little effort. Do you think, because obviously we've done HMOs in the past, we used to manage hundreds of HMOs in Wolverhampton. What do you think is more difficult, HMOs or service accommodation?
Definitely HMOs.
I agree.
Like, I don't think it's even comparable, to be honest.
No.
I think with service accommodation, I think it's just a different thing, because all the problems you have with the HMOs that cause you a lot of aggro, you just don't get with serviced accommodation. So you don't get a phone call, oh, Brad in room 2 hasn't cleaned the toilet out.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, like, why are you ringing me?
The amount of
Flush
phone calls,
the toilet.
The amount of phone calls I had to do with skid marks in the toilet. So-and-so's left skid marks in the toilet again.
The communal areas, so-and-so didn't wash their bowl up. Oh, I think my milk went missing. Oh, like, to be honest, I struggled with those kind of phone calls.
Yeah.
Like, but you just don't get that with SAs. People on holiday. I just think all the problems that you might have, and HMOs are good, but all the problems you do get, like tenants moving out if you need to get rid of, you just don't have. These are holiday homes. No one outside, or I've never had or even heard of anyone say someone moved in then just didn't leave. Because I think people are going on holiday, aren't they? Or normally SA's done as holiday. Like, it's just a totally different thing, and you don't get those silly questions. You get a bit of, oh, can you just remind me how the key safe works, things like that, but that's fine. But you scrap all the silliness out of it. It's just people staying for a week or so on a holiday. I also think you don't get, and obviously you need cleaners for both, but it's the sending cleaners into SA, it's just a normal amount. You don't get the, oh my gosh, or again, we haven't in our experience, they've absolutely trashed the place. You need to go and do a renovation. But I think once we've had, they've damaged the carpet a little bit, the rug, and after or
scratched the table.
But there's no, oh gosh, the place is being trashed.
I occasionally get a message from the cleaner, and they're like, it is occasional. Occasionally they'll be like, oh, just so you know, this was a bit of a state. The one I remember. Do you remember that family?
Yes.
That we then actually saw, didn't we?
Yeah, that was funny.
It was so they'd rented it, and they'd apparently left like loads of nappies, dirty nappies, just in bags in the corner, and I think they were there for about like 3 or 4 days. That's the thing, though, right? Even if you're absolutely disgusting, it's only so bad you can make it in 3 or 4 days.
Yes.
Have you seen some of those videos on like TikTok where people, a landlord's gone back in after like leaving their house with a normal tenant for a year? Yeah. And it's just disgusting. Yeah. There's that one that
I think pretty much all HMOs go like that. I think when every year or two you have to renovate them because they are just trashed.
Yeah.
Like, just communal living like that.
I don't know if they all do, but I certainly know student living and the lower end.
But I think you make more money off HMOs and when you get like students for a year, but you've got to just be prepared
It's got a full in the summer when they're
it's
just
great.
redecorate the whole thing.
Yeah, basically.
That's part of the cost.
Yeah, I think you've just got to see that as part of the cost, and you've got to see them ringing you for stupid little things. And you can be lucky. We did run HMOs that weren't like that, and you got some that were, some weren't.
Do you know what I think is the key? Because I know our SAs, we never have any problems, but I have spoken to other people like James, who's a regular co-host on the show. One of his SAs, he's like constant problems. I think a lot of it's to do with the price. I think if you're at a slightly higher price point, you attract a better quality of guest.
Do you know another problem I can imagine having, but we don't actually have one like this?
Go on.
Oh, but I know people that run them. Big SAs. So do you know the people that do like 20 people can stop at them? The big house.
Like where you rent the whole house.
Yeah, and obviously I know people, you can make ridiculous.
Stag do's.
Like they're pulling in 20 grand a month on the property. But obviously, you're going to attract large, and then I think you can trash your house in 4 days.
Do you remember that one that we stayed at, though, where that big house with Chelsea and Lee and the kids and everything? There's probably, 10, 11 of us or something?
Yeah.
And that was a massive big house.
Yeah.
Everyone had, their own rooms. But how ridiculously over the top they were about showing us around and making sure... I wasn't there.
It was so funny. So, it became the joke of the holiday, didn't it?
Yeah. You'll be charged for that.
Yeah, don't touch that, because... that'll cost you. Because he went round saying, oh, there's a little scratch on this games table. That cost them. This. And if you let the dog on the sofa, that cost you. And we just became about everything. Like
that would cost you.
If a cushion fell off the settee, he would go, Lee, that's going to cost you.
Yeah. And you spill a drink, that's going to cost you.
And it was almost like they'd taken it. They've obviously had problems, I'd assume. So they've taken it. But then it almost made it... We went in, we'd paid a lot of money to go to a big house to all be together. And then it felt like, well, you can't even relax here, because if you do anything, and to top it off, they lived across the way. So then at one point, your car alarm went off, and we all got bombarded with text messages going, why is the fire alarm going on? What have you done?
Yeah.
We were like, we haven't done anything, it's the car alarm. And we don't appreciate 4 messages in the morning asking what we're doing in their house.
But see, someone that manages it like them, they're not going to spend half an hour. They cleaned it themselves, they showed us in, told us all the stuff it's going to cost us, they're constantly monitoring it. So let's go through the process then. How do we manage a unit in just 30 minutes? Because it does sound like almost unrealistically little, right? It's the sort of thing that you could make a mountain out of a molehill. How do you do it? Well, the first thing that you want to do is you want to set yourself up with a channel manager. Yeah. So we use a company called Avivo. That's spelled Eviivo. I'm not affiliated with Avivo. We've actually got quite a lot of our students that don't like Avivo. They've had problems setting it up, and they've used other channel managers. So have a look round, find a good channel manager. But in essence,
and it is quite hard work to set it up.
Do you know what? That is the only thing that is hard. Setting up your unit. We're talking about half an hour a week.
Once it's set up.
Once it's set up. Yeah.
And I do think you definitely need something like Avivo, otherwise it is going to take you more than half an hour a week. But you've just got to bear in mind actually setting up Avivo. I remember the first one you ever did took you ages, and I'm not talking a few hours. It took you, I think, 2 days.
It took 2 weeks, and I'll probably put it probably was during those
solid
2 weeks, 10, 12 hours of my time.
Yeah.
Do you know what though? It would be a bit faster now. Like I had to write all about, because you want to write a good advert. If you're putting your property on, you want to craft it, you want to sell the area, you want to sell why your place is good. I think I would use AI, would save me an awful lot of time. Now just here are the key things I like about it. Bang, right, put me a description together.
True.
Whereas back then, it was before ChatGPT, I was having to write it all myself. The
and
newer
also,
ones,
once you know what you
now I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
When I'm putting new units on now, it's a lot faster. But your first one, it probably is going to take. It will take 2 weeks because it takes time.
Yeah.
But in essence, what a channel manager is, it's just a bit of software. You upload all your pictures, you upload all the sales information, you upload your pricing structure, all this sort of jazz you put onto Avivo, and then you connect it to Booking.com, to Airbnb, to Hotels.com, to Trivago, etc. You've got about 20 different places it goes to. Although 99% of your bookings are going to come through
Booking.com and Airbnb.
Yeah, but it's worth going on the other ones because you do get the odd booking.
Yeah, we do, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So you can connect it to all those different places, and then there's one communal calendar. So if a booking.com booking comes in, it tells Airbnb, it tells hotels.com. So you're not going to get double bookings.
If you didn't have that, I almost think it would be a nightmare, because the minute you had to book it, you'd have to go on and on all your other sites to put that it was booked. I mean, that would just be ridiculous. It would take you ages.
But I think what's brilliant about this is basically the market. You normally, because this is a business, you're running a business, right? You've got marketing costs. Like all our other businesses, we've got people that work for us in marketing. We have to do stuff. We have to get involved. The great thing about Airbnb, Booking.com is they are your marketing department.
Yeah.
And they charge you a percentage, about 15%. But it's worth it, because any other business, if you're spending 15% on marketing, you're like, happy days. That's actually really good. So like we've got...
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to compete now. Like if we just thought, no, we're just going to put our Airbnbs on our own, I'll create a website and we're going to push it. You just wouldn't be able to compete. I mean, without spending insane money on Google ads and things.
Unless you had a really good brand, like if you were someone like the Savoy, people probably go direct, right?
Yeah.
But even the Savoy, we stayed at the Savoy, I still booked it through Booking.com.
Oh yeah, it's still on all the channels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I always do.
I'm not going to go direct. No. I'm going to go through Booking.com or Airbnb because it's easier for me. It's like I buy everything for Amazon.
Yeah. You can't do an essay and just put it on a website and think.
But I hear the amount of people that I hear talking about building their own list, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Just pay your 15%.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to save on the fees, and then you get it really annoys me actually.
And then they go, but I have it full 20% of the time, and you think, well, yeah, I'm not surprised because
it's not on Booking.com and Airbnb. The amount of people as well, right, that will get a booking for Airbnb and then they'll try and get them to go direct. They'll be like, cancel the booking, or they'll reach out to them. If you cancel the booking, you book with me. It's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Just don't bite the hand that feeds.
Yeah.
Airbnb and Booking.com are the hand that feeds. They're the ones that are they're your marketing team. For 15%, I think absolute bargain. Right, so because of Airbnb, Booking.com and a channel manager, that basically means you've streamlined all your marketing and all your sales. You don't have to do anything. You literally just put it on there once, 2 weeks work, and that's systemized it for, I mean, it might change in the future, but forever. For years and years and years and years. No marketing, no sales, right?
Yeah.
That's a massive part of any business. Any business where it's like your marketing and sales are done for 15%.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable, right? So I don't do any work. When we're managing our SAs, we don't do any work whatsoever.
In getting the bookings. No.
It's just up there. You do the work once, you get paid forever. Totally passive income. Right, so people are booking in. Next, you've got...
Cleaner.
Well, before you get to cleaner, you've got change. The only thing you do have to get involved with, potentially, is changing the price.
Yeah.
Although you can use tools like Price Labs.
But I also know people that just don't.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah, no.
But what a lot of people do is, like, let's say you've got your standard price and then it doesn't get booked. Closer to the time, you'll go on, you'll make it a bit cheaper and a bit cheaper. And you know, get the bookings in. But you can use there's tools that can do that. So Price Labs is a great tool you can use to do that, and it will automatically look at demand in the area and adjust the price to maximise the booking. So again, all that totally systemized. Next thing you were coming on to is the cleaner.
Yeah, I got carried away. I said cleaner too early.
That's all right. Now, if you get carried away with cleaning, that's fine by me, by the way. Now, the cleaner is basically the property manager.
Yeah.
This is one of the again, it's all in the setup. This is one of the hard parts when you're first getting set up. This is not part of your 30 minutes a week. This is your setup time, part of your 2 weeks, hopefully.
Because I actually think this is the difference between running a good SA and a bad one, and it causing you all sorts of problems. I think the cleaner is the key, because it is a bit more than just a cleaner, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think this is the one you've got to get.
Yeah, and the first time I tried to get one, I've kind of learned the process now, how you get a good cleaner. But the first time I tried to get one, I was like ringing around cleaning companies in the local area, and it's like, they all say the same thing. Because what they don't want to do is ad hoc. They're like, I'll do it every Monday, I'll do it every Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, we don't work weekends.
Yeah, it's like, no. What I need you to do is to be fully available whenever a booking comes in. And
you can't be
365 days a year, even on... Well, I've got cleaners going in Boxing Day.
And also, you can't be a one-man band, because if you're ill, I still need you to clean.
Yeah, so you can be a one-man band, but you got to have a friend who can cover you.
Yeah.
You've got to have a system in place, right? So normally a little team. And I don't know how much work I'm going to give you, because it depends. I might give if I get a month booking, I might not send you in for a month, depending on if they want cleans while they stay. Or I might want you 15 times in a month, or I don't know. That's basically the situation you're going in. A lot of cleaners are like, no, I don't work like that. So it's a little bit tricky to find someone. I think Gumtree I found really useful, putting an ad on Gumtree explaining. Some cleaners get holiday lets. They understand how it works. They understand they've got to go in. The other thing as well is that, cleaners, like we've had cleaners at our house, we still have cleaners, and they don't necessarily tidy. They don't. They do. They do.
But you don't feel like, I'm walking into a hotel.
No, it's a different level, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. They need to fold the toilet paper, put the towels nicely on the bed. It's got to feel like, I've arrived on holiday.
Yeah, like they will leave if our kids make a mess with toys, for example. They might tidy the toys away, but more likely they'll tidy around the toys.
Yeah,
and it's like you can't do that in an essay. Like it's got to be. The advantage is there's less stuff.
Yeah.
Right, but they've got to completely change it. They've got to do all the linen, all the laundry. They've got to just transform it.
Yeah, it's not like just a normal house clean at all, really, which is why I think the big companies just don't want the work, because it's a whole different... you also need them to clean all the sheets, which again is a whole different thing. Normal cleaning companies are not set up to take all the bed linen and... and we also expect them to, the soap's out, so you need to make sure...
You need to buy new soap.
Yeah,
because we literally get our cleaners to buy new supplies.
Yeah.
It's like if it needs new soap, new toilet roll, new coffee, you have to go and buy it as part of your job and then invoice us for the stuff, right? So
they totally, like you say, it goes beyond a cleaner. It's a cleaner / managing the property, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You get a good one though, get a good cleaner, and the cool thing is as well, right, it goes back to our channel manager. In the same way that Airbnb and Booking.com have got access to your diary, you can give the cleaner access to your diary as well. So they can't see how much you've charged, they can't see the names of the guests or the phone number of the guests, but they can see how many guests and they can see when they're staying and when they need to clean. So you can give them a cleaner's calendar.
Yeah.
So what that means is you literally don't even have to... I've gone like months without speaking to cleaners. They just send the invoice through, I pay it, I message them and tell them I've paid it.
And they occasionally get in touch, like you say, if they're like, just to let you know. And they do it mainly because we ask them to. So we've never had a cleaner get in touch and go, your house is in a real state.
Your house has been trashed. Never had that.
They sometimes message us, this got broken, for our reviews, don't they? So we can go on and or message them on Airbnb and not give them a great...
So little jobs, just to give an example of stuff we've had. Fire remote's gone missing.
Yeah.
You've had a scratch on your table.
And then once someone did wreck the rug. That was the worst one we had. Someone wrecked the rug. I can't think what they did to it.
It looked rubbish though, didn't it? We just had to buy a new rug. Yeah. There was a few, so it's minimal stuff, right? And because of the beauty of Amazon, the beauty of your cleaner, all I do is I order the stuff to the cleaner's house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll order you a new fire remote. Can you set it up next time you go in?
Yeah.
Done. The only other thing that we do, and I'm not counting this in the 30 minutes a week, is we do periodically stay at our SAs.
Yeah.
So we'll go now.
I think that's genius, though.
Go on, explain the genius behind it. Because genius is a strong... I mean, genius is like super intelligent, next level.
But I don't think we even meant to do it. But because some of our essays are where we like to go, we did. And then I could really tell the difference between the ones we went to and the ones we didn't. Because you can't help, if you stay there yourself, find all the little things that might be falling apart over time. That tin opener went missing. But you just would not notice that if you don't live in it. And I think the ones we've stayed in have stayed at such a higher standard than the others because we stay in them and we expect a good standard. So when we go in and things are up to standard, we make them better. And I think we didn't ever intend to. But I think it is genius because I think
realise
you keep, by doing that, you keep them at such a good standard, and then they do just tick over just fine, and you don't have the other problems because they don't slowly fall apart without you seeing them, and then you get a shock because you go after 6 years and you're like, this wasn't what it looked like. We know what they look like. When a tin opener's not there and it's impractical, we replace it because we're there and we find it annoying. And I do think it's a very good thing to do, actually.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'd say it was genius, if anything.
But I think we just stumbled upon doing that.
Well, yeah, it wasn't. I suppose, yeah, it wasn't a deliberate thing of let's spot check our properties. Because basically we're mystery shopping, right?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, we are.
But actually using it, not just doing it for the sake of it. We only do it when there's a reason, but we just choose to stay in our own properties, block it off for a couple of days, go in. The cleaner doesn't know it's us.
No.
They just think there's a
So
guest.
even that is genius, because then the one time we did find out the cleaner wasn't all that good, and we went in and we were like, actually, this isn't the standard we'd expect, and then we got a new cleaner in.
Yeah.
Again, we could have gone on for months without knowing until people complained.
Yeah, it's true.
So I do think it is.
It's very true. It's very true. So you get your cleaner, you go in and check it out. I'm not counting that as 30 minutes because let's face it, really you're just going on holiday.
Yeah.
Right? And just looking out for stuff in the same way you would at any holiday, right? So what else do you need to do? The main job, because so far, actually, if you think about it, all of it's systemised.
Yeah.
You've got to pay the invoice,
Yeah.
which takes me about, this is monthly, probably takes me about 3 minutes. All I do is look at the invoice, count the number of cleans that they've put in, check Aviva, count that, that's fine, set up, bang. So that's 3 minutes a month on paying the invoice, right? You've then got to do your bookkeeping, which you actually do.
I do, and I would say I do it once a month at the end of the month. 10, 15 minutes, and I just tas through our bank statement, jot everything down.
Which pretty much is the same every month.
Yeah.
It's your mortgage or your rent, it's your water bill, your broadband, your gas, electric, Avivo, and then it's just spotting the payments that have come in, your Airbnb, Booking.com, etc.
And then you look, like you say, occasionally there might be something extra like
Amazon normally.
But that's it. And 10 minutes?
10, 15 minutes a month doing that. So you're about 20 minutes a month doing your bookkeeping and paying the invoice for the cleaner. The big job, I say big job, it's still 30 minutes a week in total, but the big job is actually responding to guests.
Yeah.
Now a lot of guests, because again Avivo automates all the messaging, it sends them the door codes. In fact, one of the things, I don't know if I've even told you this, we haven't actually got this at any of our units, but we're getting it put in one of our hotels. So there's a keypad lock, rather than, because we use key safes, keypad lock, and the Avivo, every time a new booking comes in, it automatically sets the code for the lock and messages it out to them. So it changes the lock, it changes the code, and it sets it for those days that they're there.
Do you know, we have, even though we've not had any in our property, we have been to one like that in Copenhagen.
We did.
And it gave us just the keypad thing.
Yeah, they had some good ideas actually in Copenhagen. Yeah. Another really cool idea in Copenhagen. I know I'm banging on about the book direct thing. It's like, you want to use Airbnb, but I still thought this was clever. It said their internet was their name, so I can't remember the name of the hotel, something apartments, but the Wi-Fi password was book direct, save 10%. Right, so I'm literally having to type in. It's not like I've seen the messaging. It's like I've had to. Do you know they say you remember if you write it down, you remember it more. I had to type in book direct save 10, and even the percent obviously gave it the special character. I thought that is quite a clever idea for getting people to book direct. Having said that though, they're only making the extra 5% than it would be through. Airbnb or Booking.com.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just think it was a good idea.
Yeah, I would still book through Booking.com.
I probably would as well. I can't even remember the name of the apartment. I have to look on Booking.com to see who I booked with.
Yeah.
I'd probably get a genius discount anyway. It's probably worth it, but yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a good idea. What were we just saying?
So you're saying about the key codes?
Oh yeah, Avivo, right? So Avivo will do all the event communication. So technically, all the communication is automated. I've already written it when I was doing my secretary.
Yeah.
Technically, I should never have to speak to the guest, ever.
Yeah.
However, that's technical. In reality, it's very different.
Yeah.
Although I would say probably 50% of guests never get in touch with them. But then the other 50% will have questions. Oh, I'm checking in at this time. Is that okay? And you have to click yes.
And like some people just like to get in touch, don't they? Like, I think the older generation are just used to face-to-face meetings, so they just want to get in touch, go, hello, I'm coming in, I've seen where this is, and you're like, okay, welcome, and they just like to feel like they've had some form of communication, even though they're not asking anything, they're just informing you they're in.
Yeah.
You're like, great.
The biggest stress is when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
So, and I've had this when I'm away, where like the boiler's broke, for example. So I had to pay. I said to them, look, go and book in the Premier Inn down the road. I'll refund you for the days where there was no heat. Obviously, you can leave your stuff there if you want it, but if there's no hot water, it's ridiculous. So I refunded them what was the days that they couldn't stay there. Obviously, got a plumber straight in. That cost like $3,000. Which is quite annoying.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, right? You are going to get stuff like that happen. I've also had cleaners have forgotten to go in.
Yeah.
So I had them ring up. And then you ring around the other cleaners trying to get someone in. The very worst one we ever had. Luckily, because a lot of our essays are a long way away. Luckily, we were only about half an hour away from this one, so it wasn't too bad. But cleaner hadn't gone in. I called the cleaner, no answer. We were actually out with friends at the time.
Called other cleaners,
called everyone I could think of. We were out with friends at the time. I was like, you know what? We're half an hour away. They are literally there. There's no cleaner. Who's up? All four of us.
And that's randomly, to bring it full circle, where we bumped into the people we were talking about earlier that had caused a right mess. Yeah. They were back.
Luckily, they're repeat guests, so they know that we're normally good. And they were like, nah, it's cool, just change the linen. It's actually not that bad, just change the linen. So we actually went around, all four of us went and blitzed it.
Let's just hope they don't listen to this podcast and know we're talking about them.
Well, I didn't, to be fair, I didn't do much. I'm not very good at cleaning.
Our friends really helped.
It was mainly you and our friends.
Ellen.
And me and Jack were just there sort of supervising.
Yeah, to be fair, Ellen was superb, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I think she saved us a bit there.
She was good. So that's the only time I've ever had to go to an essay in person. I've emergency had to say another one I had, right, this is a nightmare. So they got there and the key safe had broken.
Oh,
so the key was locked to the key safe and they couldn't open the key safe. So I had to get a handyman. Annoyingly, I had a spare key, so he had to come to me, get my spare key. But I live like 3 hours away from the property. Drive up to the property, let them in, fix the key safe. So a lesson I learned from that is have multiple key safes. Yes. Have a really well hidden key safe with a spare key in that you don't use, don't tell anyone about.
Yeah.
So in this emergency, and since then we've put those in all our properties, and I have used that a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where the cleaner's gone, they've not put the key safe back in or whatever. They've used the spare key safe. So
that's a good tip.
Yeah, good little tip for you. Yeah, but pretty much it's just responding to messages.
Yeah, that is the only thing, isn't it, really, that takes the time, and a little bit of bookkeeping once a month.
A little bit of bookkeeping, paying your invoice. The big thing is having a good cleaner, having a good channel manager, doing the work in the first place to set it all up.
Yeah.
And you do that, you should be making between £1,000 and £1,500, I think, profit per property that you have, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. For half an hour's work, it's basically you're being paid £3,000 an hour for that half an hour's work once you've got it set up. Not including if you've bought it, any capital appreciation that you've got as well. So that's how we manage our essays. In half an hour a month, it really is that easy when you get a good team around you. And the thing is as well, you could very easily get a virtual PA to do those messages for you, and then it would be completely passive unless that's come to you in a case of an emergency. One other thing, I kind of touched on it, but you want a good cleaner, you also want a good maintenance man around, because the cleaners sometimes can't do really basic things like change the light bulb. Oh, it's a bit high for me to do that. The other way, do you remember that time when the cleaner went in and they'd moved the bed? It was a 3-story building.
Oh yeah.
And they'd moved the bed from the top floor to the ground floor.
Yeah, it was the same people we've been talking about.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It's the same property. It was different people.
Okay.
They moved the bed. So the cleaner was like, I've had to get my friend to come out to help me carry the bed.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I kind of think if you're gonna do that, you'd at least put the bed back, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's weird to do that and then leave it.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is mental. But anyway, that is how you manage your service accommodation. That's how we do it in 30 minutes a month. I hope you found that useful. If you want to learn more about how to actually get properties like this and how to find deals, assess deals, please do come on down to the Property Investors Crash Course. It's a full day of training where you'll learn everything about property, how to get started for just £1 I'm going to be there at the next ones personally myself, so I'd love to see you there. Please do book. We'll put a link below, and I hope you guys found that useful. We'll see you next week.